Welcome back to the channel. The Marvel Comics solicitations for January 2022 are out. First up, we're going to talk about all the events going on with X-Men and why this is just a terrible strategy for Marvel Comics. Then we'll go over Marvel Comics by the numbers, and then I'll talk about all the solicitations in full. But first, we got to talk about Sins of Sinister as well as Dark Web, which I think is a big problem right here. The new year will see X-Men face a threat unlike they've ever known in Sins of Sinister. The event sees Mr. Sinister, a longtime X-Men villain who has turned into a half-hearted ally during Mutant-Kind's Krakoan age, finally achieved the victory he's always wanted. Written by A.X.E. Judgement Day's Kieran Gillen, with art by Lucas Wernick and more, Sins of Sinister begins with a one-shot before spilling out into the pages of a number of X-Men titles. Kieran Gillen has not even finished A.X.E. Judgement Day, another X-Men tie-in event, and they're already launching the new one in January of 2023. That is bad planning. What's even worse planning is in between this, Dark Web, the Spider-Man X-Men crossover also kicks off essentially at the same time. How many X-Men events can we cram in to a 4-month period? The fact that Marvel Comics are doing this just shows you how unorganized, how uncreative, and how unaware they are just how many people hate this Krakoan era. Kieran Gillen's A.X.E. Judgement Day, while not the worst thing in the world, it's not all that good. It's not very compelling. No one cares about the Eternals. And everything that he's done in there is a series of plot contrivances, deus ex machinas, and moments that make no sense within the story that he has crafted already. Why are they giving him another event? Nobody in the history of Marvel Comics has ever had a worse grasp or understanding of the character of Mr. Sinister than Kieran Gillen himself. Yes, he's made a lot of changes to the character, and I would say every single one of them were for the worse. You can't expect Kieran Gillen to follow up a lackluster A.X.E. Judgement Day with another event series only 2 months later and people to be excited and to come in and fully invest on this thing. And you certainly can't expect that to happen when you have Dark Web, 8 issues tied into that Spider-Man X-Men crossover event also coming out in January of 2023. Absolutely ridiculous on the part of Marvel Comics. They are so greedy. They don't understand why people aren't investing in their event comics anymore. They're doing so many that none of them feel important, and you never have time to experience what the big fallout is. And now that the returns are lower, the sales are lower, they've decided we just need more events to keep the event sales up in line with what we did 5 years ago, even though 5 years ago, maybe we did 3 or 4 events, and now we're going to do 8 or 9. Absolutely ridiculous on the part of Marvel Comics. But what isn't ridiculous is the amount of money they're charging. Absolutely refreshing to do the Marvel Comics solicitations and see just how affordable their comic books are in comparison to DC Comics. Even their #1 issues and event tie-ins are all under $5 on average. You will not see that at DC Comics whatsoever. So I have to do a tip of the cap to Marvel Comics for at least not extorting their customers and destroying their wallets while they're producing far too many comic books. Let's get into Marvel Comics by the numbers. 74 total new comic books being produced in January, 7 of which are #1 issues. 9% of all new Marvel Comics are #1 issues for a total of $34 or $4.86 on average. Like I said, that's pretty easy on the wallet, especially in comparison to the distinguished competition. When we go over to the flagship character Spider-Man, it's much the same. 12 new comic books in total associated with Spider-Man. 16% of all new comics are starring Spider-Man or a Spider-Man related character for a total of $48 or $4 on average per issue. They didn't upcharge us on a single issue associated with Spider-Man or Dark Web in January. Absolutely brilliant by Marvel Comics. Hopefully DC Comics starts to take notice because Marvel are absolutely destroying them when it comes to sales, and I think price has a lot to do with it. If we go over to their premier team book, X-Men, 16 new X-Men comic books, 22% of all new Marvel Comics are X-Men related for a total of $67 or $4.19 on average. Once again, very easy on the wallet. The Avengers, 19 new comic books associated with the Avengers. 26% of all new comics are Avengers related for a total of $79 or $4.16 on average. Star Wars, 9 new comics, 12% of all new comics are Star Wars, $37 total or $4.11. And all those numbers are great. That's treating your customers with respect and appreciating their wallet and all the hard work they have to put in to being able to purchase a Marvel comic, not trying to fleece you, not trying to take advantage of you. Even with their event comics, Dark Web, 8 new comic books are Dark Web related. 11% of all new Marvel comics are Dark Web. $32 or $4 on average per issue. Marvel Comics not upcharging for their big event series. They have too many events, but at least they're not trying to screw us over while they're doing it. like the Distinguished Competition. Those are Marvel Comics by the numbers. Let's get into the full solicitations themselves. This video normally takes a little while, and there are 74 new comic books to get through, so this is going to take a minute. Perhaps you need a refreshment, grab a nice lemonade, perhaps a Snapple, or even a Long Island iced tea, maybe an adult beverage. Let's sit back and have some fun, and I will have my lock of the month. Not surprisingly, we are going to start out with the Dark Web tie-ins. Amazing Spider-Man 17, Zeb Wells, Ed McGuinness will look like $1 million. I think Ed McGuinness is still a premier comic book artist. John Romita Jr., while he certainly is better suited for Spider-Man, I don't feel like he's quite at the top of his game these days. Peter Parker finds himself trapped in limbo. Not only does he have to find his way back home, but he has to do it in a truly hellish fashion. And who is shadowing him? Amazing Spider-Man number 18, Zeb Wells, Ed McGuinness once again. As if the normal run-of-the-mill demons in limbo weren't enough, Spider-Man finds himself facing a small army of demonized versions of his rogues gallery. Gold Goblin number 3, Christopher Can't Write Well, Lon Medina, never in a million years. Mary Jane and Black Cat number 2, Jed McKay, Vincenzo Carutu. Mary Jane and Felicia Hardy are trapped in limbo also. Well, that's pretty redundant. Never mind. Venom number 15, Al Ewing and Brian Hitch. As Dylan Brock finds himself renewed and reinvigorated by his descent into the symbiote hive, Bedlam has come calling again, looking to finish what it started by killing Dylan and Venom once and for all. As far as the Dark Web tie-ins that we've seen so far, that one sounds the best. Dark Web Miss Marvel number 2, Sabir Pirzada, Francesco Mortarino. Dark Web X-Men number 3, Jerry Duggan, Rod Reese. I don't think we're going to be seeing Rod Reese on New Mutants anymore. I think that comic book actually got stealth canceled. Vita Ayala was the writer. I don't think she is anymore. Danny Lord is taking over for a short spell, and then Charlie Jane Anders. And I don't think we're going to ever see New Mutants again, at least with these creators. When Jean Grey returned from the dead, Scott Summers left his wife and child to be with her. The fact that she was revealed to be a clone of Jean didn't make her feel any better. Maybe the Cold Stinger Revenge can. Ooh, Maddie Pryor. Avengers War Across Time number 1, Paul Levitz, Alan Davis. If you're looking for an Avengers comic actually worth reading, because let's face it, no one's reading Jason Aaron's Avengers or anything related to it, this is probably a pretty good alternative. The classic Avengers against the Hulk on the streets of New York. Yes, please. Paul Levitz is an Eisner Hall of Famer, and I think this actually looks pretty good, although it is $6, but it is 56 pages. Scarlet Witch number 1, Steve Orlando, Sarah Pichelli. Steve Orlando is one of the worst writers in all of comic books. It made much worse being in the X-Men office. This thing will be incomprehensible. It will be unfucking readable, guaranteed. Wasp number 1, Al Ewing, Kasai Ni. Obviously, they just got done with the Ant-Man special to celebrate that character's anniversary. They're doing it for Wasp as well. Al Ewing wrote that one, and I liked it quite a bit. I think if you're a Wasp fan, you're really going to enjoy this one. Fashion designer, businesswoman, founding Avenger, Janet Van Dyne has worn many hats over the course of her superheroic career, but when an old enemy threatens Janet and her fellow Wasp, Nadia, seemingly against his will, the Van Dynes will have to confront the ghost in their shared history to get to the bottom of the mystery. I think it's going to be good. Joe Fixit, number 1. We're going to lock it up a little early this week. This is absolutely my lock of the month. Peter David has been annihilating it on these 90s throwback issues, these series that he's doing. None better, in my opinion, than Maestro. I'm pissed that it actually stopped at only 3 volumes, but if I'm getting a Joe Fixit story, I think I can take it. Peter David's tour de force through some of his greatest Hulk hits continues with a return to Joe Fixit. Gone are the ripped-up shorts of the Hulk of yore. This enforcer prefers the slick suave of a striped suit, and the Hulk has traded in monster for mobster as he lends his strength to the Las Vegas casino scene. Of course, the Kingpin has his own ideas about who the toughest guy in town is, and it's up to Spider-Man to keep the two of them from destroying the city. This thing is going to be absolutely amazing. I do wish they kept the artist from Maestro on this, but I do have faith that they are not going to destroy this with bad art. Peter David should be on one of Marvel Comics' flagship series. The fact that he's not on Avengers, Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Men, one of the really important titles to Marvel Comics, is a huge folly in my opinion. Peter David is the very best writer in the Marvel Comics bullpen at the moment, and he's getting no respect. But these things are absolutely brilliant. Lock it up. Joe Fixit, number 1. Absolutely going to be worth your time and money. It's going to be a brilliant read, and I couldn't be more excited. Invincible Iron Man number 2, Jerry Duggan, Juan Frigeri. The assassination attempts on Tony's life continue as a familiar foe returns to take him down. It'll be up to Iron Man and Ironheart to stop him. But what secret is Riri Williams harboring from Tony? Well, the fact that she murdered him and stole a suit, I guess, would be the big secret, right? She's actually a villain. I think that's what we're all waiting for. Hopefully, that's what Jerry Duggan is doing here, and maybe people will like him again. Miles Morales, Spider-Man #2, Cody Ziegler, Federico Vicentini. I don't need to read the solicitation to know this is going to be garbage. Cody Ziegler is one of the writers for She-Hulk. He came over from Rick and Morty. He wrote the Spider-Punk miniseries, and he is an absolute abomination to comic books. The fact that he has a mainstream title tells you everything you need to know that's wrong with the comic book industry. Cody Ziegler is a hack, a joke, and one of the least talented writers at Marvel Comics. Monica Rambeau, Photon #2, Eve Ewing, Luca Maresca. I initially planned to skip this one, but there just aren't enough good comic books out of Marvel and DC these days for me to skip something that I think actually might have some quality to it. So I'm probably going to check it out just to see what's going on. Eve Ewing, not the worst writer in the world, and actually has some potential. Have you ever had one of those days where everything is going wrong? Like you've somehow been sucked across the infinite cosmos in the wrong corner of a fragmented space-time, and you run into someone from your past you really can't stand, like, say, someone from beyond? No, that's never actually happened, but I think I'm going to check it out. Shang-Chi, Master of the Ten Rings #1, Gene Yang, Michael Eag. I guess this is the end of the Shang-Chi series by Gene Yang, and they've done it in a one-shot so they could call it a #1 issue. If you've been enjoying Gene Yang's Shang-Chi, you probably need to read this. I have not. Miracle Man by Gaiman and Buckingham, the Silver Age #4. Drew could not speak more highly on the #1 issue. I'm personally going to take a skip-a-rooney on this one, but if you are a Miracle Man fan, Drew says you should absolutely read this. Avengers 64, Jason Aaron, Javier Garrón. Avengers Assemble Part 4, The Battle of the Dod. Please just let it be over. I think that's all we're waiting for. Somebody, any competent writer to write the Avengers. Avengers Forever 13, Jason Aaron, Aaron Cooter. What a waste of Aaron Cooter. Sins of Sinister #1, Kieran Gillen, Lucas Wernick, and more. I think I've expressed my opinions loud and clear on this one. There are far too many X-Men crossover events. Why Kieran Gillen is writing his second X-Men crossover event after returning to X-Men only like 9 months ago, I'll never know. This thing is destined to be terrible. X-Force 36, Ben Percy, Robert Gill. The maid with the peacock tattoo has his sights on the X-Force for some time. When Domino, Deadpool, and Omega Red embark on a mission, they will fall right into his clutches. When Ben Percy first started this X-Force run, that was really intriguing, and I was excited for that. But it's been a couple of years now, and I'm taking a break from X-Men. Let's put it that way. Exterminators #5, Leah Williams, Carlos Gomez. If you read the first issue, you know. Immortal X-Men #10, Kieran Gillen, Lucas Wernick. Legion of X #9, Cy Spurrier, Netho Diaz. This thing has been very, very disappointing. Way of X was actually really intriguing, even if I didn't agree with everything that Cy Spurrier was doing with Nightcrawler. But this thing is just an absolute train wreck. If you want to waste your money, go find a dollar bin. There should be plenty of copies of Legion X 1 through 8 by this point. Go spend a quarter and realize you wasted 24 cents. Marauders #10, Steve Orlando, Eleonora Carlini. It says Here Comes Yesterday finale. I was hoping, and it could actually happen, that this is the finale of his Marauders run, because it is an abomination. It is so bad. It is unfucking readable. But I think it's just a finale of a story arc. If they were smart, this would be the finale of Steve Orlando at Marvel Comics, period. X-Men #18, Jerry Duggan, Josh Cassara. Sync has a lot to sort out. His life has been derailed. His powers have grown, and he's experienced a loss that no one understands. The universe had its way with him. Now it's his turn. Sabretooth and the Exiles #3, Victor Laval, Leonard Kirk. X-Men Red #10, Al Ewing, Stefano Caselli. If you're going to read an X-Men comic book and you have to spend your money on one of them, this is the one that's in continuity that I would read. Stefano Caselli is easily the best artist in the X-Men office right now, and Al Ewing is probably the best writer at this point. X-Men Red is not fantastic, but it is bearable, and that's saying something in the X-Men office these days. In the blazing ruins of the Autumn Palace, Storm battles for the soul of Araco. Meanwhile, Abigail Brand and Roberto da Costa play their last cards, and a sinister hand deals the ace of spades. Wolverine #29, Ben Percy, Juan Jose Rip. On the one hand, Wolverine will kill anyone in his way. On the other hand, he'll do anything to save those he loves. Is he the best there is at what he does, or his own worst enemy? As Logan comes to grips with his plight and finally begins to heal, the gravity of his recent missions comes into full focus. Extreme X-Men #3, Chris Claremont, Salvador LaRocca. The Extreme X-Men series is probably the worst thing Chris Claremont has ever done, but I imagine, in comparison to the Krakoan Age, this is going to read like Days of Future Past. I'll probably check it out just to support Claremont, but I have no expectations as far as this one goes. X-Men Legends #5, Will Portacio and Brian Haviland. If Peter David's Joe Fixit didn't debut this month, this would have been my pick for lock of the month. Legendary Whilce Portacio returns to his iconic co-creation in an all-new tale that finally reveals the genesis of Bishop's time travel mission that pulled him from the future into the X-Men's present. We have had so much bad Bishop over the last 2 years. I need a palate cleanser. I need something refreshing. I need Whilce Portacio talking about that character and illustrating the comic book. Absolutely. Murder World Wolverine #1, Jim Zub, Ray Fox with Carlos Nieto. I love Murder World. I love Arcade. I love Wolverine. This has all the things that I like in one comic book. Typically, I'm not a Jim Zub fan, but I thought his Thunderbolt series is actually pretty funny. It's got some good satire. I understand some people were upset with it, but I think the point he was actually trying to make was actually in line with the people that got upset with him. I don't think they understood what he was trying to say. I'm going to check it out, but normally I don't like Jim Zub, but I can't pass up Murder World. I can't pass up Arcade, my boy Wolverine. Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise #3, Tradmore. This thing is going to look amazing. It's going to be very trippy. Will the story be good? I'm not really sure, but I could use some good Doctor Strange. We haven't had any for quite some time. All we have is Clea Strange in continuity right now, so I'm going to check it out. Doctor Strange is pulled in every direction by powerful figures where millions of lives rest in the balance. I think this is going to be good. I think this is something Eric Breen will love, and I hope he picks it up. Fantastic Four #3, Ryan North, Ivan Coelho. Tiger Division #3, Emily Kim, Kreese Lee. Secret Invasion #3, Ryan North, Francesco Mobley. The more Ryan North comic books that Marvel Comics put out in a given month, the less comic books they're going to sell. That guy is an absolute disaster. Deadpool #3, Alyssa Wong, Martin Kokolo. I can't imagine a worse pairing of creator with character in the world than Deadpool and Alyssa Wong. The funniest character in the Marvel Comics universe with the not funny writer that couldn't be funny on her funniest day. Planet Hulk Worldbreaker #3, Greg Pak, Manuel Garcia. They keep going back to the Planet Hulk well with Greg Pak. It has not worked out in the past, and it won't work this time either, probably. Hulk #11, Ryan Ottley with Ryan Ottley. Apparently, Donny Cates is taking a break from Marvel Comics. He's got some stuff going on. Ryan Ottley is illustrating and writing this one, and we see Hulk playing this planet's favorite sport, the planet-busting godball. Now that Hulk finds himself at the center of a civilization that worships him, these other Hulks are more than eager to prove their might to their god. He doesn't have a lot to work with, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound very good at all. Peter Parker and Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Double Trouble, Mariko Tamaki, Vita Ayala, and Guru Hero. I'm so sorry, Guru Hero. You deserve to be somebody. You're a great artist. You should be on, like, really good kid series. How did you get stuck with Mariko Tamaki and Vita Ayala? Two people I would never, ever give access to my kids to. Spider-Man #4, Dan Slott, Mark Bagley. The end of the Spider-Verse rages on. Oh, God, it's never going to end. Spider-Man, The Lost Hunt #3, J.M. DeMatteis, Eder Macias. Gregor continues the destruction of Peter Parker's life, breaking him down physically and mentally. Enter the dreamscape of your nightmare, Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm going to check that one out. I really like Kraven's Last Hunt. Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man #4, Taboo, and B. Earl with Juan Ferreira. Juan Ferreira is a great artist. Why can't he illustrate something with an actual comic book writer? You know what I'm saying? Carnage #10, Rambi, Francesco Mana. Forged in Blood continues. Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #8, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, Carmen Carnero. If you want to see Captain America grovel and beg for forgiveness for being called Captain America, this is absolutely the comic book for you. If you like Captain America and you want to see him do heroic things and being proud of his mantle and his legacy, you might want to skip this one. Captain America Symbol of Truth #9, Tochi Onyebuchi, RB Silva. Wakanda #4, John Ridley and Evan Narcisse, Julian Shaw and Natasha Bustos. Namor the Submariner, Conquered Shores #4, Christopher Can't Write Well, Pasquale Ferry. They're charging $5 for Christopher fucking Can't Write Well. Black Panther #13, John Ridley, Herman Peralta. This started out as a pretty good series, but my goodness, did it die. It is unreadable at this point. John Ridley should never be allowed to type a comic book script on his computer again for the rest of his life. He's terrible. Savage Avengers #9, David Pepos, Carlos Magno. All Out Avengers #5, Derek Landy, Greg Land. More porn face. Nice. Captain Marvel #45, Kelly Thompson, Sergio Davila. The comic book still in publication at issue #45, purely out of spite. The sales are terrible, but they don't want to cancel it again. Thor #30, Torn Grunbeck, Nick Klein. As I mentioned, Donny Cates is taking some me time. Torn Grunbeck, not the worst writer of all times, but I haven't been enjoying what's happening with Thor, so I'm going to keep skipping it. Strange Academy Finals number 4, Scotty Young, Humberto Ramos. This is absolutely must read. If you have not read Strange Academy, do yourself a favor, go to your comic book shop, get the trades, catch up on it, and be ready for Strange Academy Finals to come out. I think it comes out with the next few weeks. Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos together are like perfect. This is the best comic book that you can buy from DC or Marvel for kids these days. It's really brilliant. Ultraman and the Mystery of the Ultra 7 number 5, Kyle Higgins, Matt Groom, and David Tinto. Maybe it's David Tinto. Strange number 10, Jed McKay, Marcelo Ferreira. Marcelo Ferreira is actually a really good artist, but he has been destroyed with this Strange series. He's got nothing to work with. And I've heard that they've been changing Jed McKay's scripts too. He didn't even want it to be this bad. Ghost Rider number 10, Ben Percy, Corey Smith. This thing has been really good, and I'm happy that it's like got some sales to it. In the blood-soaked tunnels beneath Chicago and upon the horned altar of Hell's Backbone, the final fights of the Shadow Country arc will come to a startling conclusion. Do yourself a favor, read this comic book. Moon Knight number 19, Jed McKay, Federico Sabatini. We do not see Alessandro Capuccio illustrating this issue, and he's not doing the cover, which makes me think he's no longer the artist on Moon Knight, at least on issue 19. I don't think he was there for issue 18 either. I think that's going to be a huge loss. That's one of the big reasons Moon Knight has been so successful. The art has absolutely been fantastic. The story by Jed McKay has been really good as well. And while I do like Federico Sabatini as the fill-in artist on Moon Knight, I think it complements what Alessandro Capuccio has done pretty well. I want Alessandro Capuccio back. I think he's got superstar potential. She-Hulk number 10, Rainbow Rowell, Luca Maresca. Daredevil number 7, Chip Zdarsky, Rafael De La Torre. As Daredevil, both Elektra and Matt Murdock have made a home for supervillains as the new stronghold of the Fist. But not everyone they've welcomed shares their vision of how things should be done. Great, more heroes welcoming villains into the fold. That's going to be a terrible story, and I think that's a huge mistake. Midnight Suns number 5, Ethan Sachs, Luigi Zagaria. Punisher number 9, Jason Aaron, Jesus Saez, Paul Azuqueta. The epic showdown between the God of War and the Fist of the Beast. But even if the Punisher somehow survives Ares, the other forces are already gathering to bring him down once and for all. Predator number 6, Ed Brisson, Kev Walker. I did not like that first issue. I will never read this again. Terrible take on the Predator franchise, if you ask me. Alien number 5, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Julius Ota. The ship the humans stole from the Steel team has crashed, and from the fiery wreckage emerged a swarm of Xenos led by the monstrous Hybrid. We've already done Hybrid Xenomorphs, and everybody hated it. Why are you doing it in comics too? We've already proven that that doesn't work. Multiple times. Star Wars The High Republic, The Blade number 3, Charles Soule, Jethro Morales. Anything that says High Republic, I will not touch. Star Wars The High Republic number 4, Kevin Scott, Andrea Brocado. Yeah, not touching that. Star Wars Yoda number 3, Kevin Scott, Nico Lloyd. Yoda's experiment with the Scalby has ended in disaster. The situation on Turok worse than ever. A new generation has risen up since the Jedi Master first came to the planet. A generation that still hasn't learned the most important lesson of all. Always wait 15 minutes after you've eaten to go swimming. That is the most important lesson. You don't want to cramp. Star Wars The Mandalorian number 7, Rodney Barnes, George Genty. This is a certified hit, not shockingly. This is the best-selling Star Wars comic that there's out right now. The Mandalorian is really the only thing that Marvel has done in the last 5 years with Star Wars that anyone has liked. Star Wars Darth Vader number 30, Greg Pak, Luke Ross. I personally do not like the series. Jumped off a few issues in, but I will say Jim from Weird Science DC recommended this comic book. He says it's good, but go check it out if you're looking for some Star Wars content. Perhaps you'll like this one more than me. Star Wars number 30, Charles Soule, Andreas Guinalot. Some of the Rebel Alliance's best and brightest have gotten lost in an unknown region of space while hunting for a lost treasure. Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 30, Ethan Sachs, Paulo Vianelli. Tonga and her team of bounty hunters find themselves in the crosshairs of an old ally. Star Wars Dr. Afro 28, Alyssa Wong, Mikyug Jun. Star Wars Han Solo and Chewbacca, Mark Guggenheim, Dave Messina. And that does it for my Marvel Comics January 2022 solicitations video. There's definitely some stuff out there that you should be reading. I really think Moon Knight's been good. Joe Fixit is absolutely going to be great. Extreme X-Men, definitely going to check that one out. Whilce Portacio returning to X-Men, Strange Academy Finals. There's some good stuff out there. But with Marvel Comics, just like DC, you got to be choosy. Don't just go out there and buy everything that you loved in the past because it's not all going to be good. You don't want to waste your money, and you don't want to get blackpilled on Marvel and DC by picking up the wrong comic books. I hope I was able to help you out today. If you're looking for some more great thinking critical content, based on what you like on YouTube and what I've created, this is the video YouTube says is perfect for you. I hope you check it out, find some more great content. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. You made it this far. It's like 30 minutes.